Central, Tuesday, August 15th. Zal, what are you, lost? You all right? I know where else to be?
What you say?
You lost?
No, I'm changing venues. I'm just passing by through New York, off to the next exclusive golf course. Eating steak, bro. I had steak, I had shrimp, I had lobster.
He really doesn't care. It's amazing. You try to, knock that guy down? No. That's not how it works with him. Marty Mush, Ev, Smitty. I got a bunch of things to talk about, obviously. Let's start with this. The blog comes out in like a half hour. Zah, I don't think you heard. Did you hear this story? I was absolutely humbled outside the office this morning. Humbled. There's a 28 to 30-year-old girl and like a 45-year-old girl, both pretty attractive. I turn the corner on the train, make the right. As soon as I turn the corner, they're like, oh, that's him, like whispering to it. I'm like, all right, so my days of being flirted on are long gone, so I know something's up, right? Maybe in a younger age. So I go in the door, and she's like, oh, hey, can we give you a gift? I'm like, well, she's like, no, I promise it's not weird. I'm like, all right, like, whatever. She goes, we custom made these bags for you, for everybody there. I go, oh, okay, great.
Wait, for you?
For everybody.
Just wait.
So as I turn to go in the door, I look at the poll, and the people have names on them. Mine says BS. So I go, hey, I got the generic one. Like, you don't know who I am. So the younger, more attractive girl, she kind of just ducks her head, and she's laughing. She got caught. The older one's like, no, tell us your name. I'm like, no.
Don't need to keep saying if they're attractive. Just say the girl.
I'm describing. Well,
He's painting a picture.
More so, this way you know the difference of the character.
Well, you started. They both were good looking. You had to specify the younger
You
one.
don't have to say. Just say the girl, the younger girl, or the older girl.
I know I'm not going to get hit on anymore. I'm past my prime. I'm not a DJ's. I know there's something to
It's
foot.
such a
I
wild
was
way to
taking a shot
explain
at
it.
myself. What are you talking about?
This is a
I know,
wild
but
way to
you're just explaining a lot more than needs to be explained.
Yes, just say younger girl.
It's an hour show. Now I might just do it for 40 minutes now. Fuck you. You interrupted the story.
Because you're
Sorry.
describing it
So
wild.
the girl's like, we'll make you one. I'm like, no, it's okay. You don't know who I am. I'm not famous enough. It's okay. So they kind of laugh it off. I get upstairs. I go to tell the story. Marty says, Tommy got one custom made. So now I'm behind the nerds.
Marty got one too.
Yeah, fair, But yeah, all right. They
Not
know
the
you.
only ones who got one.
I think if they read the newspapers for the last year and a half, you had a few headlines.
Well, yours wasn't on there, and you've been a lot of headlines.
There you go. I don't know. Maybe they don't like the crime in
I like my
the
bag.
section. They just like the.
I want Smitty didn't even get a generic one.
Like
My
page.
bag looks great.
Well, yeah, you ruined the punchline. So now I'm like, all right, I'm behind Tommy. Like, that's tough. I go sit down at my desk to pen the blog. I look up. They got a Clemma bag made. Fucking behind Clemma?
Yeah.
Low point for the riders. Low point. I shouldn't be behind you in anything. No offense, but that's tough.
I mean,
that's
you're behind
full-
me in attendance for
Let's
this
be
month.
honest, when that's full offense. That's just.
Yeah, exactly. You got to say no offense, though. It's like Curb Your Enthusiasm. So, here's what it is.
And you're in fifth in president running.
Yeah, on the first day.
This is a big
Which
day.
is called the witching hour.
This is a big day.
You got to move up 2 spots.
3.
No, you got to move up.
You're 6th or 5th?
It's fifth.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Move up
2.
to 3rd. Yeah, so we'll see. All right, Sixers back in the news. I wrote this down. Embiid deleted. I mean, this is the most overblown story of all time. It seems like
I don't think so.
It happens all the time. Embiid deleted his Sixers from all of his socials.
But the
Big
timing.
deal or little deal?
Timing.
Big deal.
Yeah, but
The
Big deal.
timing says everything.
Why that you have to physically go in and take that off? You're doing it for a reason. That's why I think I agree with you. Like, news nowadays is so fucking dumb. Where it's like, oh, this person unfollowed the Jets, and like, oh, he's mad. Sometimes that's just stupid. To take that off the day after the Sixers are under the fucking fire, I think's a big deal. Especially his name's been in talks with the Knicks, and Big Ev is literally glowing.
Photoshop Ev.
That's because I got to get tan right now.
Photoshop Ev.
But I wouldn't be opposed to Embiid being a Knick now.
Don't you think it's a weird thing?
Yeah, and I said it this morning when I wrote it out. He's a troll, and I love him and I appreciate him, but not the time for it. If it is a troll, I mean, you know the shit the fan base has been through over the past decade plus. Don't troll about this, at least until we get in Eastern Conference Finals. If you're not trolling, it is what it is, and I gotta say, I don't really blame him. I don't. I mean, it's at the point where, hey, I'd love to get one more season in just to see if something can happen with Maxey taking that superstar leap, which I think he could, and B getting another MVP year, and Nick Nurse maybe being the greatest coach of all time, hey, look, maybe they can make a finals run or something. I don't think it's going to happen, but maybe. But other than that, Embiid knows his shelf life. He knows he doesn't have that much longer left. Why would he want to be chained down to this mess? Why would he want that? I know for a fact he loves the city of Philadelphia. He loves the fan base. The organization has been a shit show for a decade. If he can get out in his prime and get a championship, I don't blame him. I don't want it to happen, but I don't blame him.
I don't think it's a troll. Like, I know he is a troll and he does that stuff, but I think that's like
I don't think it is either.
in solidarity with Harden, like saying that's basically like he was right. He's lying.
So if he goes to the Knicks, how much closer does that put us to a championship?
I mean, it would depend on the trade.
In terms of what we got.
I just think you could. I think obviously we have a lot of draft picks. There'll be a lot of draft picks. I just think you could.
RJ Barrett.
If you guys, I don't think he'd have to go.
For Embiid?
I think it'd be a ton. I hope not. I'm a big RJ guy. Some people would disagree on that.
That's
I
why
don't love giving up a ton of picks, though.
you got to.
I'd rather give it. No, the picks is we've accumulated all this picks for a reason. I think it'd be like a Mitchell Robinson. Like obviously he makes like $20 million a year. Good young athletic center. Obviously makes sense.
They need
They need another
fill the
guy
position.
and some
Yeah,
money.
They need to play
ton of draft picks. Maybe like a Quentin Grimes is in there.
It's RJ Barrett would have to go. They would
don't
not
know.
trade him without like
they would
young
look
guy
for him.
ready
For the
to go.
Sixers,
or Josh Hart, but
for the Sixers, if Embiid goes anywhere, I mean, you're obviously dumping everybody. I don't want a Quentin Grimes or Josh Hart or RJ Barrett. I don't want a Randall. I want your next 100 draft picks. Right.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
RJ Barrett's not like that's one guy that's young, like 2 years in. Like you can maybe like the rest of them. I agree with you. There's no reason for you want all draft picks.
That's why I think it would be like I think we could get away with it with RJ.
could.
And I think if you swap them, I think you could make an argument like right now. If we didn't totally destruct the team, like you say, it was a lot of picks. I think you could make an argument the Knicks have a better supporting cast.
Yeah,
You can disagree, but I'm open to discussion on that.
I know it's not crazy.
If you put together like just Jalen Brunson, Hart, RJ, I don't know what's gonna happen with Randall, but I mean all those like quickly off the bench and some of these guys. I think you'd rather Brunson right now than James Harden.
Yeah, one of them's committed. One of them
course.
doesn't give a shit.
I think that's like a clear like win.
And I think
I-
consistently Jalen Brunson's a better player overall.
And what would you say? Like, would you rather have RJ or Maxey? I think that's a real debate.
Maxey.
I think that's fair.
I don't even think-
I think you go back to if they were able to have March Madness in 2020, I think Maxey would have been the number 1 overall pick.
I tend to agree with you.
Maxey's gross. He's so
RJ, I think Maxey's a little more polished offensively. I think RJ's he's bigger, a little better defender, but I'm not like gonna.
And I like RJ.
I wouldn't like totally be like you're crazy for saying Maxey's better.
RJ still have some like Maxey's like shown like he's like a max type of player.
Maxey's
like,
a more
RJ
consistent
Barrett
scorer.
is still like he showed glimpses of it last year where he
played
still
well.
has room to grow.
He played well in the playoffs, as I appreciated.
Yeah.
Maxey's more polished as a scorer. It's a better shooter, like more consistently. But RJ's improved.
fast.
But
So on
Maxey's a
the
very good player.
topic of centers, because I thought this was crazy, but then I kind of looked into it because it's still a little crazy. But Stephen A. Smith went on Paul George's podcast being like, Boogie Cousins is a top 5 center in the NBA right now. Obviously, he's barely even in the NBA. I don't even think. He's 33 years old. I thought, I was like, yeah, it's obviously stupid. But then you look at the centers in the Steven Adams had the second most rebounds last year as a center.
And he's
I think that's a little overrated of a.
But then think about the centers. It's Jokic, Embiid, Karl Anthony Towns, and then you got like Bam
Yeah, Jurkic.
and like Rudy Gobert. But Rudy Gobert is defensive. Like
Yeah, you got no.
Boogie at the time at one point was just like full offensive guy. But like the center, and I know centers are kind of just out of the game. But I was like kind of looking at all the stats. I was like, the centers really just too strong. Like Kristaps was like looked at
he's
as like
more
a
of a
top
4.
5,
He's
and he's
more of a
not even
4,
a center.
yeah.
Yeah. So it was very like, man, centers are really gone.
Honestly, Boogie was kind of Embiid before Embiid was Embiid.
Yeah.
Like he could shoot threes. He's not quite as thick as Embiid, but he has that kind of skill set. They have a similar skill set.
Nowhere near as versatile.
No.
No, but I think
But like their skill set is
hard,
it's
yeah.
similar.
A little bit.
He's an
He was
athletic
more-
big man who can actually stretch the floor, but can also rebound.
and also can punch in the face at any point
That's
during
it.
a game.
That's it. That's what always held them back.
Yes, being just insane.
And also starting on the Kings doesn't help us. But they've got better now, obviously. But at the time he was on the Kings was not the best place to be in the NBA.
Yeah, the center crop. We said it all the time. I think Steph Curry and the way the game has evolved, like you're a stretch center like Jokic, or you ain't really around. You know, or you're not really really involved.
But I do think that
or have
you
one
do
skill
need
set.
a center like that. I do think you need a good center on your team where you can't go fully away from it, because like finals was Bam and Jokic.
Yeah, Bam, I don't consider a true center. Jokic,
He's
I do, but
Forrest
Jokic
as
is the
well.
only one that has won a championship since when, and that's because Jokic is a.
I'm not saying that it has to be your best player. I'm saying you just have to have like an actual. Like I don't think that you can just go small at all times. I know that the
Warriors
I guess the
kinda-
Warriors,
No, they
but he
have.
kind of didn't. Like who was on the like.
Looney did play
Like
very
Looney,
well. In
like they're always
rebounded his ass off in the finals.
I'm not saying it has to be one of the best players, but like Looney is going like who's even Kuminga or something.
He's a 4-3.
Yeah.
Zaza Pachulia.
Well, they've always had guys like that. Like back there, like Bogut and like some guys.
Yeah,
like
they
bad
always.
Guys.
Again,
They were never like staple points. You just needed like one guy just in case. Like you said, Looney. Like Looney.
yes.
All he did was just crash the boards.
And to be honest, the Sixers' problem, I thought, like Embiid is one of the, but like he's not he was too much of a focal point sometimes, and I think that's what's kind of slowed him down.
Too much of a focal point because he needed to be, because
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like where it's just a center. It's like, all right,
we can end the NBA discussion. I know it's summer. What it all comes down to is Ben Simmons just really. Guys, he did.
I was waiting.
Just
I was
did.
waiting when he would.
It all goes back to that. He just did.
When you
Sucks.
have a fan of a team, I'm gonna lean towards that story. At least like open it up. So
I think that also the Warriors,
yeah.
when you talk about the Warriors and the centers, is there to some extent the centers kind of became running backs for the NBA, where they don't have to overpay for a center like Zaza Pachulia. Like you might hear that name, be like, yeah, what did he do in the finals? He was a great defender.
Right.
Andrew Bogut, like you got guys that were Kevin Looney. Like Looney, people were talking about last year, like oh my god, like he is a legitimate NBA center. So
I know, Dukes, but you say that, but like if you're older, like Patrick Ewing, Shaquille O'Neal, I don't even know what the place in the game would be for them today.
okay, but we also talked about that with the NFL running backs. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm
1,500
saying
yards. Yeah, I think
our centers.
you're
Shaq is
right.
still-
I
you got
think
them on a deal.
you're better off now if you are a center, a true center, and you're not going to be able to run the floor, having one skill set. I'm a shot blocker. I'm going to rebound. I'm a
Right.
defensive
You have to be a
stopper.
specialist.
Maybe I can stretch out and shoot a three, or I have a mid-range shot that's elite. Like you have that one skill, and that's kind of where you're going to go as a center.
Right, to make this about Obi Toppin, like people wanted him as a 4, but I'm saying like as a 4, people wanted to play him at the 5 because people want to play small now.
Right.
So really, it's just all depends on the system and whatnot.
If Jahlil Okafor made his debut in 2005, he'd be a Hall of Famer.
He's actually who I was going to bring up. He was like
Jaleel?
Jaleel. He was the true like the
Yeah.
death of this.
He went to
just
Duke.
watched-
Went to the
Marty,
NBA.
so
There's
he
just
is.
not a place for
Just
that
had
type
the
of
game.
player.
The game just. What do you say?
I said he went to Duke. Marty should know who he is.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, he had the game.
Let me just say something real quick. That guy, if you guys ever feel bad about yourselves when Twitter trolls are like online, Meek is him. Like he doesn't have his face on there. He lives with his mother. Like that's what does it to you.
Meek is the ultimate.
Like you're a
ultimate
troll, and
troll.
like that, nothing hurts them because they have a sad life. So it's like
He's elite.
that's just what
I
it
have
is.
a very good life.
The guy
I'm
who
on
like
the show talking to you, bud.
chugs milk at night and it's like throws up on his bib.
This sounds
that's
like
just
all
what-
great stuff right here. So there's really no insults.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're a weirdo. Like I try to be nice to him, and then he's like, "Oh, he's a commenter. Oh, you should know who's our Duke." Like, dude, how many times are you gonna do that?
Don't
You
worry.
want to read the chat? See how many times I get called playing video games?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. That's all Meek fills.
Meek's
That's all
filling in,
him.
by the way,
Yeah.
for the next week.
Yeah, this place.
Yeah, Dukes is going on a trip for lacrosse or whatever, so I'll be filling in.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, it's not
Circus.
lacrosse?
Slide in my wife's DMs. That's what commenters do. Sorry.
I
Oh,
would
God.
never do that.
Dalvin Cook to the Jets.
All right, here we go.
I think this is a fucking troll. Dukes wrote this. Are the Jets a super team? That's you being a Patriots fucking
Kind of.
lead.
All.
Is that mocking? Or you
No.
really think the Jets are like elite now?
Oh fuck no! I mean, the Eagles in 2010 or whatever, when Vince Young is the backup. I mean,
I-
I'm putting them in the legitimate.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
Clemmer wants to talk about the Jets, suck them off for a little bit. Hard Knocks tonight, so Clemmer, are the Jets a super team in your opinion?
Well, I will say this. I think having the flexibility at running back of Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook ain't a bad strategy.
Michael Carter too.
The one thing that struggles, the one thing
I
that
forgot about him.
the Jets no one's talking about is their offensive line. That is a big struggle for them.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, the defense is great. We have Aaron Rodgers. We have the wide receivers. We have the best cornerback in the game, 1,000%. But the thing that makes the entire offense go is your weakest spot. And like Dalvin Cook's it's going to be very hard for him to run when that's happening.
Well, before we say the Jets' offensive line is bad, it just doesn't stay healthy. Like Mekhi Becton has to stay healthy. Now it's a huge if because he just hasn't been. But like if those guys can stay healthy, it'd be okay. But that's a huge ask.
Yeah.
I mean, we just this past weekend we saw one of the Steelers' offensive linemen went down. So like I mean, they can go at any time, and it's
but if you
scary with
look
this group we
at
have.
the roster on paper, it's like kind of
Pretty good.
That's great.
It's
No,
pretty good.
very
It's
good.
pretty
It
good.
really does.
And you have to admit the Jets are far above the Patriots going into the season.
I on paper, yes, but I'm genuinely curious what your opinion is on this. Is there something in the back of your head where it's like, I'm nervous Rodgers goes down week 4? Or like, I'm nervous about injuries just
No
because
more
you're
than
the
a
Jets?
normal. No, this goes back to this stupid same thing like Evan Marty, like, oh, they're the Yankees, they'll be fine because they're the Yankees. It's like
I'm not
they're
saying
the
about that.
Patriots or the Jets will be bad because they're Jets. I don't care about that.
There is kind of something to that, though. It doesn't work out for the Jets.
I'm not
It
saying
didn't work out for the Red Sox in 2004, then it did. It just,
I'm not
it
saying
didn't work
that,
out for the
though.
Patriots until it did. So like that doesn't matter.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying with your torture and your years. And by the way, like the Jets did own the Patriots for like 2 years in the mid like 2009 season.
Yeah, I
so like,
remember.
yeah. So I was young enough to like get shit from Jets fans. All I'm saying
That's
is
very
there is
traumatic.
something to be said that you have to be a little bit nervous
No.
that this is going to come shitting storming down.
I mean, I'm nervous just as anyone would be who has an old quarterback, but it's not because they have a green helmet. Like I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all.
The that would go down week 4 seems like some slight wishful thinking, dude.
Yeah,
That's a wild.
And notice how Duke's not
just a
answer my question.
Just
either.
a little bit. Just a little bit.
Hey, it's okay. Clemmer will do a video on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade from 1928 to today, but he doesn't care about tradition. All right,
No.
he doesn't
Yeah,
care.
that- it doesn't have any bearing into right now. So like, you know, if Vinny Testaverde tore his Achilles in 1998, that doesn't mean anything now.
Yes, but
For a
there
guy-
is something in sports where it doesn't work out.
But I said
Like that-
didn't
I
work out.
know-
The Patriots were a joke.
To a degree, the Jets in 1998 has nothing to do with 2023, but it also kind of does.
It doesn't.
just
The same way shit goes wrong for the Mets.
Yeah.
The same way Gonzaga gets close, can't get over the hump. The fact that the Spurs always draft the right guy, that the Braves have a 20-game winner growing on a fucking tree somewhere.
You talk.
Like it's sports for whatever reason. It doesn't make sense, but history does.
You
matter.
said the Red
It
Sox
does work out.
didn't work out till 2004, right? You talk about it like there's something going on. It was a curse for a reason.
It wasn't a curse. It was just bad management.
Oh, it's legitimately the curse.
It's a curse.
I'm not gonna get in the whole.
No, but that's just the thing. A curse
That's
is
what it
a
was.
thing.
Like,
Yeah,
that's
the
what
Cubs
goes
had
on.
the Cubs had the
Curse
what?
is
The
not a
goat.
Cubs is a curse. A
Why
curse
is
is
the
a
curse go
thing.
away, Marty? What happened?
Because
They win. They overcome the
win.
curse.
They overcome the curse. That's a thing.
But why?
But until they do, everyone gets
Talk about it.
Talk about the bad luck.
Yes.
I think it's a fun narrative.
Or not giving
No,
the benefit of the
on
doubt.
a
Curses
show
are
where we're
real.
supposed to be talking about like some sort of intelligence with making these picks and stuff. I think you can't look at curses. That shouldn't have any bearing on what
So
you're
if you
doing.
don't win for 40 years, is that a curse? or-
No, it's you probably made bad
So,
decisions. You
but
didn't have
like-
the talented players.
But I'm not even just taking a shot at the Mets, but the Mets, they have the #1 payroll. They have a lot of good players, but sometimes
Didn't work out this year. This
They're-
year was a disaster.
It didn't work out.
They won
past.
101 games last year.
Didn't work out for how long now? It's
Didn't
becoming
work
a
out
curse.
last year. They blew 2 of the biggest leads in 06 and 07.
It's a
Like, I'm
curse.
Guys, there's 30
Hell,
teams.
well,
There's
Matt.
30 teams in the major league. It's not going to work out for 29 in any given year. I mean,
Yeah,
that's,
but it doesn't
you
work
can't
out
do that.
for a long time.
Like I said, look at the Patriots. If you live long enough, you'll see this stuff. The Patriots were the laughing stock in the NFL until they got Bledsoe.
What are you doing?
Oh.
Oh, no.
After releasing a pass, Aaron Rodgers clutched his left calf. He's limping.
Oh, that's a game for Aaron Rodgers. Grabs at something every game.
These are the trolls back here. Now, Zach, go
I
to the
will-
other tweet.
I
Go
will
to the other
say,
tweet.
I've seen Aaron Rodgers win games with Green Bay without legs.
Yeah.
Here's the context because the Meekville trolls back here.
No, that's fine. Notice how Duke's never answered my question either. So
I
you
guess
do
I
acknowledge the Patriots are way behind the Jets right now.
I wouldn't say way behind. We're 1 game away from the playoffs last year, and you guys were too. What does that mean, way behind? And we beat you guys twice last year.
That's insanity.
That's not.
okay.
That's not
All right,
way
that-
behind.
Okay.
You're
You're a biased, insane person.
No.
It's the Patriots have the Yankee syndrome. They have our
They do. Yeah, they really do.
Am I?
Yeah.
Am I? You guys had
No, you are crazy.
All, you
Dukes,
are all,
Dukes,
the only thing-
statistically, Statistically, no, you weren't way behind, but reality, right now, I think you're pretty behind.
You're in last place of that
Talent-wise, the
division.
talent gap, I will totally agree with.
Not even
But at the
close.
same time, if the Patriots beat the Jets twice this year,
All right.
are we still way behind? Are we still way behind?
You're not going to beat
If we go 1-1, are we still way behind?
What's the final record in the season? That's what I care about. I don't care about head-to-head matchups. This isn't
If we
some
both make the
weird,
if we both make the playoffs,
rival high school.
Wait, who cares about the record? It's who goes farther in the playoffs. That's
Okay,
what it's always
I
been.
agree.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think the Patriots.
Same page.
Patriots
Same
aren't
page.
going to make the playoffs.
Same
buddy.
page. Same page.
Patriots aren't going to make the playoffs.
Look,
You
the way-
acknowledge that?
Yes, they are. No, they are going to make.
You think they're making the playoffs?
Yes, 100%.
You're.
I think it's going to be the Jets.
That
and
is so stupid.
I think it's going to be the Jets and the Patriots.
Dude, there's so many.
You think
good
the
teams
Bills
in
are
the
not
AFC.
going to make the playoffs?
Yeah, I think they're just going to miss.
Yeah. What?
That's
The
insane.
Bills are
The
going to miss.
Dolphins are going to be good.
Bills are going to miss.
Bills are
I
going
don't. I
to
wouldn't
miss.
put the
If Dolphins
Dolphins
stay healthy.
Oh, guys, no bias back here.
Bills are not making the playoffs. I can't. I'm all for dumb conversations, but Bills not making the playoffs is.
I did do it. I did what Nicky spoke to Fasoli yesterday on Twitter. He was flexing like Tyquan Thornton at receiver. I'm like, guy, he put it on paper like I love Fasoli. Fasoli. I said you could roll on his high school team. He'd say the Patriots are going to win the Super Bowl.
Right.
A perfect segue. Zeke,
Yeah.
Zeke to the Patriots.
Woo!
Two quick notes on the Jets, real quick. Number one, I mean, Ev's been saying it for forever.
I'm on the Jets bandwagon.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be really good.
Their defense, yes, it's talked about. Yes, it's good. I think it's still way undervalued this year.
That's what I've been saying.
Way undervalued.
They might be. They're a top like
better than
3
people are
defense.
giving
I think they might have the best defense.
They could.
Well, I'll tell
They
you
have
what,
the
we're going to
potential.
know real fucking quick.
They're
because
special.
That schedule is very difficult.
And number
Top
two,
heavy. It's
I
all
say it
top
all the
heavy, too.
time. Yeah, but that can get you out behind the 8 ball. So
Can.
And
it's interesting. I'd like
Even
to
that first game is huge.
Yeah.
And number two,
Yeah.
with the offensive line, quote, struggling, Dean in the chat had a good point. Zach Wilson was a quarterback last year. Sometimes
that's
holding the ball for
That's
10
when
seconds.
you're going from the worst quarterback statistically ever.
Yeah.
That'll
to
make
one
an
of the best.
O-line.
You have somebody knowing what they're doing, getting the ball out quickly, it makes your O-line look a lot better.
And just on the injury, I mean, Rodgers has been healthy relatively in his career. Knock on wood for the Jets fans.
Also, I mean, we talk about that running. They got a lot of options that they got to respect that running game. And also, if they can get him on board of Brees Hall and
Cook,
Alvin Cook
Carter.
and Carter
Carter.
and be like, listen, you guys know how it is. Like nobody's gonna get 1,500 yards, but you all might go get 8. You know, like we could be really good in an attack, and you got defensive lines and linebackers who are gassed up or tired, and you keep shoveling in running backs
and
hitting them at 4 a clip, and then open up the passing game. Rodgers reads and audibles, like it definitely can be scary.
And Garrett
I do say that.
Garrett Wilson won Offensive Rookie of the Year last year
Yes.
with Zach Wilson.
Yep.
Come on.
And Carter, to
Dukes.
his point, he was such a good
Dukes.
teammate with Bryce Hall. Like when Bryce Hall came in, he's like, "No, we're gonna make it. We're gonna."
Isn't it Brees Hall?
Brees Hall, excuse me. We're gonna make.
They
this
do have a
together."
Bryce Hall as well, actually.
Brees Hall's a
Hall.
boxer, right?
I mispronounce every name all the time.
Bryce Hall's bare knuckle fight.
No,
No, they had a guy named Bryce Hall in the Brees Hall is the running
Brees
back.
Hall's running.
I know they did.
When Hall got drafted, Carter's like, whatever works for the team. Like I think these guys are all in. Like Robert Saleh is doing a good job of getting these guys all on the same page.
Even just hard, I feel like Rodgers is doing a good job. Even I saw the little thing he was talking to the quarterbacks about, like, hey, go sit with someone new at lunch, go meet. Like he definitely is taking it very serious of being a leader, getting to know everybody. He's got the handshakes with everyone. People can think that stuff silly. I do think, and when football especially, like that camaraderie is a
Dude,
big deal.
that means
I really
everything.
think that stuff really matters in
It
football.
means everything everywhere.
And especially those linemen. Not that this can be considered silly, whatever. I believe in it as just someone who just played like obviously high school, whatever. When you like love your guy behind you, like those linemen are going to go balls to the wall for Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, there are football
Whether
teams
they're
that hate
good,
each
bad,
other
or
that won.
indifferent, but
You love your
The
quarterback?
90s Cowboys.
I did.
Okay.
That was an unbelievable book.
Is Jeff Perlman one?
Yeah,
it's very good.
unbelievable. It opens with Michael Irvin stabbing his teammate in the neck.
And those guys won.
Good start of a book.
They won 3 Super Bowls.
Like no joke,
Dude.
That's the reason I was like, I have to read this
Oh, of
book.
course. I'm not kidding.
One of my uncles got it in a Kris Kringle in the thing, and I always say all the time, I'm fascinated by the stories I know a little bit about, but I don't know all of it. Like Woodstock, the original Woodstock, '99 Woodstock. Like I was old enough, I was 12, but I didn't really consume that. The '90s Cowboys, like Jordan. I'll be honest, I didn't watch Jordan a lot in prime time.
You want to talk
You know
about
what I mean?
an
So like,
entire-
I read that first page, I'm like, I'm in.
You want to talk about an entire team that probably should just be canceled and disbarred? It's that Cowboys team.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they did some.
I mean, Charles Haley, Hall of Famer, documented mental health problems. Look what he did on that team. Look what he did behind the scenes. It involves a lot of whipping it out.
yeah.
That guy he was winning Super Bowls everywhere.
Yeah, it's that's
he
the
would-
Niners, Cowboys.
I literally read the first Marty. I really read the first page, and I'm like, I ordered the book on Amazon like the next day.
You have
I'm
to.
like, I need
Perlman's
this.
books are incredible. Some of his stuff
It's
is great.
and it's. I'll give him. I know we be book nerds, and Brandon likes him too. But he did the '86 Mets. He did the Cowboys. I want to get to the Lakers. There's some other ones.
Did
he's
a Bo
done.
Jackson one just came out this year.
I heard that's boring.
all
But
right.
he does them without ever directly interviewing like the main characters. If you can believe that. Like he didn't sit down with Emmitt Smith but he gets a lot of these stories and
From other
to get your
people?
point about other people, and it's firsthand accounts. So those stories, to your point about the Manziel thing, like these people aren't holding anything back. And Emmitt Smith doesn't get a point to then blow him off or change the story or who's got the narrative. So it is interesting. If you're a book nerd, like it's called
Hey.
Boys Will Be Boys. It's very, very good.
You had an interesting point
That's
there.
the one where I found Troy Aikman can't throw a wet ball.
You had a very interesting point there. You said the Bo Jackson book is boring. Is Bo Jackson quite possibly the most athletic person out there who is just kind of boring?
I mean, if you read the book, it's not that boring. He had quite a life.
He did. But person like he just like put his head down and did his job.
Yeah, kind of. He was. I guess the excitement came on the field.
I guess that might have been the-
Bosworth or climbing up outfield walls. Like
Yeah.
as someone who grew up watching him, he was really.
And that might just
really
been
exciting.
the era Barry Sanders handed the ball off to the ref like he wasn't.
Bo was more exciting than most back then.
Yeah, I know he's a freak athlete. Brandon said it was kind of a boring book. He's like, it's not.
Yeah, it's not Perlman's best.
Right. So, this is a no-brainer. Anthony Richardson named the starter for the Colts.
Everyone,
Surprised they did it after one game, though. Maybe that's to give him the confidence.
I like that. I'd rather you like don't even think about you've earned it. You're our guy. Fuck it, we're doing which everyone already knew. So what is your guy? I think every team, the Texans, Panthers, Colts are like they all should be starting week 1. Do you guys agree? Or you think they should be waiting their time coming like week 8?
I go back and forth. I think I've seen so many guys get thrown into these spots of a bad team and take.
Do you think it depends on who the other starting quarterback would be? Like if it's Davis Mills, what's that?
I don't know. I almost I look at it as like the guy's going to take a beating for 16 weeks, and you're probably not going to get a Super Bowl. What's the worst case of waiting 3 games?
I think
before you
Stroud's
start
going to
him?
have the hardest time. I'm not even saying
Throw
I
him
think
right
he's-
in.
So here's my theory on this. I think I think it's part of the social media thing. We've gotten a guy is one bad start, and we're like, fuck this guy, throw him to the trash. That's become too much of a thing where, like, I remember Eli, they waited I think it was 8 or 9 games. But
Right, yeah.
like the last 7 games, he was horrific. Who cares? He was rookie. Peyton Manning was horrific his rookie year. They were awful. He threw like 30 interceptions, but he broke the record. They won one game. And then obviously he goes on to become one of the great quarterbacks of all time. People are too like.
Yeah, but Peyton was also generational coming out of college.
Well, I'm talking, but these guys.
Eli was the
We're
same.
talking high draft picks though.
All right, so
We are talking
Top
high draft,
four
but there's
picks.
there's a difference between
Well,
a
you're right.
Peyton Manning
You're right.
and a Trevor Lawrence,
course.
and then an Anthony Richardson.
And even
that's
more
totally
so-
fine. But I just think like it's fine. Like for a team like we'll go with Anthony Richardson. Like they're all in. They draft him 4th overall. They're all in on him clearly. Like if he's awful this year. Like, what are you just gonna throw him in? Like, you're gonna go with him next year. I just think you're gonna get more experience. Like, let him get those reps in real time.
I don't know. The other side's like Ryan Leaf. Talk about Peyton Manning. A lot of people did want Ryan Leaf ahead of Peyton Manning, and Ryan Leaf was a disaster. They threw him right to the wolves, and
But he had he off the field. He was like.
did a lot of it stem from him not having that 1 year to kind of be someone.
I think it depends on who.
I don't know.
Who
It's-
you're backing.
so it's a-
up.
it's a fair,
That's the question
counter.
I'm asking. Do you think there isn't a little bit of an element of taking a beating? Your team's horrible. You know, you might be doing the right things, but the drops, and now your completion percentage is down to like 45, and you're throwing picks where a guy is not in the right spot, and then after a while, like it starts to affect you that you think you might not have it. I know it.
Zach Wilson, he was
Like
fucking
you get
head
thrown in there and you take a beating and you're like, oh shit, like maybe I am bad. You read the things. Hey, we're 3-14.
Sam
Like,
Darnold,
I don't know. I
too,
think
so.
it can affect you. Yeah,
I think
for
Sam
sure.
Darnold's a lot better than people think.
Yes.
Like, I think that he. So
The
let's
book is out on Darnold. Like he was bad.
100%. But think about this. So Stroud, I don't want him backing up Davis Mills. Bryce Young, I don't even know who the backup is even for Carolina right now. And then Anthony Richardson, Gardner Minshew's not the person that I want, but like say like a Will Levis. If Tannehill's the guy, that's someone, all right, maybe he can learn from him. He's been around a lot. He's been a little successful. Like he's he can learn from him. The rest of them, what the fuck are you going to learn?
But you're just learning the NFL way of life. Like, you're learning what it practices like. You're also not being fed to this horrible team. Like, sometimes it makes sense just to start Davis Mills.
I don't
let him learn.
I think
a year.
Stroud. So what's the question is here? What rookie has the hardest road? I think it's Stroud.
I mean, probably team-wise.
Team-wise, I'm not saying who's going to be the best. Like, I think Texans are. I think the Panthers have got a little more weapons for Bryce.
I think he can turn it around real quick. I think the Texans have the best situation with the coach.
Marty,
Love D'Amico Ryan.
Marty, can you tell me who Bryce Young's weapons are on the Panthers?
I mean, Adam Thielen's not like a terrible weapon.
Okay.
Okay, so what was that?
I'm just saying, what other wide receivers?
Phil,
what?
Oh man, this is gonna get.
Phil, what is this?
What's wrong with that?
Tell us that.
So, well, you can't say okay when I come back with something. You can't say
I'm asking you to
okay.
name their depth chart.
What's the point of this?
Can you say okay?
All right, chill, Meek. You go through the fucking.
Yeah, go through every depth chart. Don't be a fucking loser back.
What's the point of it?
I think DJ Moore is still there.
No, I don't.
No, he doesn't. You're trying to sabotage. He's
If you're gonna do this,
you're being a commenter.
I will step in here and say
man.
I thought that I could trust Meek for the next week.
That's it. Like you're gonna be
Can't help
funny,
himself.
be funny, but like.
By the way, to Marty's point.
But I said Adam Thielen. He goes okay, and then okay, what else? You dumb fuck. Like there is just.
I might not have got Adam Thielen.
Yeah, that's the thing. Depth chart. Like, what are we talking about?
Until I see him on Red Zone, he's still a Viking.
Yes, like what?
There you go, hands up.
Oh, me too.
Again,
and
a troll like that can study all night because he's got nothing else to do.
To Marty's
What'd
point,
you say?
Carolina is on pace. Or I'm sorry, the line is 7.5 wins, and Houston's is 5.5. So
Yeah.
you're right. Carolina is
It's just a lot. I'm not saying Stroud. I think Stroud's actually a good quarterback. Even though Ohio State, we've been through this when you weren't here too.
Well, it's a lazy take.
No, it's been struggles. But
honestly, I actually had this thought today in the shower. You can make an argument.
Yeah,
I think you can make an argument.
Amazing because Notre Dame has had like a.
I'd say Notre Dame hasn't had some good quarterbacks.
I'll make an argument that Ohio State hasn't had one busted quarterback.
Oh, what?
Rattle it for me. Give me one.
Bobby Hoying.
Did he go in the first round? We're talking way back.
Third.
The third round pick's not a bust. You going third round pick a bust? Give me a quarterback. Ohio State quarterback's a bust.
Because they don't get drafted very high.
But that's not a bust.
No, they're not good quarterbyears.
That's not a bust.
I'm trying to think. You haven't had really anybody.
Because there's not good quarterbacks.
So we've just started running a pro offense. He's not a he's year.
No. I'm saying I'm just going backwards. I'm giving names.
So Justin Fields is we don't
You
know.
obviously count Haskins, right?
I mean, R.I.P.
Yes. No, without a doubt.
The guy was 24.
But what round did he go in?
First.
He was totally a bust. What are we doing here? I know he's dead, and that's sad, but he's a bust.
He played like 2 years.
Jesus, Clemmer.
Well, I mean,
This guy has no soul.
I mean,
I cried real tears when Dwayne Haskins.
Let's move on from that one. What I'm saying the rest.
I'm on.
I cried genuine tears
I
when he
mean, what are we
passed.
doing?
Sorry that
Definitely
he's dead.
sorry
but
that he's dead, but
stunk.
like, yeah, I mean, I always call the facts the
He was
facts.
in the reclamation project, and the Steelers
Listen.
playing well in preseason, and then had a fortunate accident.
Jim Valvano raised a lot of money for cancer, but he also had recruiting violations at NC State. Like, those are both facts.
What that?
I mean, Smitty called Vince DiMaggio a bum
Oh,
the other day, and
oh,
he's
oh.
been dead for a long time.
Two different things. Yeah,
And
exactly. Like,
Yeah, no, and
Tom DiMaggio was a big bust.
He did not a bust, and he is dead.
Oh,
Joe
Vince
Burrow
played
is
for-
also LSU.
Great Ohio State quarterback has a degree.
We had this.
I-
We had this conversation when you
me and
weren't
Joe
here.
Burrow
It
are
was
both
very funny.
alumni of Ohio State University. We have degrees.
top 25 AP poll is out for college football. So this is my hard take before we give the poll. There shouldn't be a college football playoff. There shouldn't be a college football poll preseason.
They're absolutely.
You always say this every year.
So-
and
you do
the
you're
same thing
so
every
wrong.
year.
It's
You're just-
crazy. This is the most.
This
wrong
is
you've
why
ever
we're talking
done.
about it in the talk show because there's a poll.
Look at how much further these teams have to climb in these rankings.
The right teams still are in at the end. The right teams.
Yeah,
are.
and you also
doesn't
know
really matter.
that week 1 or week
You
2
are
when it's 2 versus 3, it doesn't matter who it is. 2 or 3 is still fun to watch.
The only thing,
Without a doubt, it's
the
fun
only
to watch,
thing
but
you're
they
correct
can
about.
say it as highly touted, and it's bullshit that a team like USC, let's say if USC has a disastrous year, you know for a fact into October people are still crediting that as a top 25
Well, there's a team
win.
right
but
now.
it's into
It might-
October, and
look,
then they stop.
They might
crediting
finish
it.
the season 5-7.
And I don't think it matters because there's a team in here right now. TCU is not the 17th best team in the
No, I don't. I
Without a
don't
doubt.
think they will.
There you go. But that's going to get credited as a good win.
100%.
But it
then it
won't-
gets looked
at
back
the end of
on.
the year when it matters. It won't.
When they're
still
if they're
will, kinda.
4
But no, it
That's how
won't.
they-
Not really.
if they're 4 and 6 at the time and there's a team that beat them in the first week, it'd be like, oh, that actually doesn't count anymore.
Exactly. Ohio State did the same thing last year with Notre Dame. Maybe
My
not
first
every
is
stay in the
big win.
polls way
By the
longer.
end of the year, it
There's
wasn't really a big win.
also-
They were like, okay.
What about the teams that aren't ranked and then they come like they're number 5 in the country? People looked at their early loss. If you beat them early and they won after that, it's like, oh look, that's actually a good win.
But I do think the committee takes that into account, like when they're like start doing, because that's why they don't. That's why the committee doesn't do the rankings. So what is it? The first week of November, is it?
Right.
Early November, and that's the one at the end of the day. That's the only one that really matters. Like the AP poll means nothing in terms of the implications of the playoff.
Like, all right, here's a perfect example, right? So this AP poll, so Georgia's one, they're a bad example. I'm not going to touch them. But Michigan, what's Michigan's first 5 weeks? If Michigan doesn't get tested in the first 5 weeks, and a team like an unranked team like Oklahoma State or who's another major conference here? Washington State, let's say, okay? They're not ranked. Major conference. They go off and rattle a great resume in the first 5 weeks. Who has a better resume or who should be ranked higher? Washington State or Michigan? And they're going to put Michigan at 2. And Michigan has not been tested in the first 5 weeks. It's because they were on paper. Now ask me again, who's the more talented team? It's Michigan every day and twice on Saturday, without a doubt. And that's where it gets hairy. But Michigan shouldn't get to be ranked second with no resume.
I think that
it's not fair.
I also do think that I think it's fair to be ranked that high for your recent success. I think that you should get a little credit for your recent success. Like Alabama has won so many times and always at the top. You put them up there just because they deserve it for right now.
Also, I hate the sick as we defend Michigan. They're also taking into account like the amount they're bringing back in talent as well.
Without a doubt, Ev, but like at this point, then we're just rating them on projection.
McCarthy's still the quarterback.
Yeah, they're bringing both the running backs back. Yeah, no, they're going to be good again.
Oh, the
That's
running
why,
back?
like, college to me doesn't. College basketball always is good because it plays out in the sense that your resumes dictate your seeds.
But
yes,
so
you are ranked.
So does
but
football. These
not like this.
It
I just
doesn't
said it to
matter.
you. Who's
We
going to
just
be
said
higher?
it doesn't matter. The
5
playoff committee is the
We have this
only
conversation
top 25
every year.
that matters.
And what do you
You're
think?
talking about a meaningless poll.
5 weeks in, the playoff committee is going to put who ahead of who in that situation.
They don't do it till like is
Okay,
it
so
like
week,
7 or 8
week
is when they
se- let's
start
say
it? Week 8 or something like
week
that.
7, Michigan's not sitting on a great resume. Who are they going to put higher?
But
how they do it. They always do it
You
based
answer
off
your
of-
own question. They should be ahead of those teams because they're better, and we know they're better. And listen, if Washington State that's for like we're using them as like an X, whatever, just a name. If they say they go undefeated or they win a bunch of good games, maybe one loss, they're gonna be there at the end with a chance. Like they're gonna get their chance. Like it's not like they're gonna knock, especially the year after this when it's 12 teams.
So then
for this year, we're taking this year it's 4.
You're kind of proving my point. If the only polls that matter are towards the end of the season, why even have them in the beginning?
Because we can eat up airtime by talking about it right now on the radio.
All right, fair enough.
On YouTube.
What's week
It's a
one?
talking
What
point.
is
That's
there
what it
week
is.
one like top Is there a top matchup in the first week?
Yeah, Florida State plays LSU. That's obviously
On Monday.
huge.
Okay, so we have 5 versus 8 in the first week. That's that's just those.
And they're both legitimate playoff
People
contenders.
love numbers. You put a little number next to that
Exactly.
fucking name, people will be like, "Wow, I'm watching this game." You're a
When-
casual fan, 5 versus 8, I'm watching that.
When does it go from 4 to 8 or 12?
next year.
So not this year.
No, this year's
still
4. This is the last year of 4.
Can I be honest? Obviously I like the 12 and all that. I kind of like the chaos of 4 because of some team not getting in. It's kind of fun where you talk about that Cincinnati team that might have got in or when they did get in or whatever. I'm gonna kind of miss it a little bit. I never miss the just like 1-2. 4 was kind of nice.
Well, I don't even know how they would do 1-2 anymore.
I don't even know how you would.
It would be brutal.
But aren't you excited to get another whole weekend of
I am. It's going to be
playoffs?
great.
Well,
But
it's
sometimes it is fun where some teams are undefeated and they don't get in, and then you see that we're going to see those teams get in and get annihilated by teams from the SEC. That's what we're going to.
But the elite bowl games, no one will sit out now, which I think is a huge win for college football.
that helps.
Also, I did a TikTok on it when the schedule came out. Have you guys seen how it's laid out just from a viewing aspect?
I think the first 4 teams are going to get a bye.
Wait, is it going? It's 8, correct? Aren't they going to 12?
No, they're going to 12, but the first 4 teams, to my understanding, get a bye.
Right.
So it's really 5 versus 12, and then the winner would play however they do the bracket or whatever. And I believe it's going to be
Next year is 8?
I don't know. It's 12. I don't know how they're going
That's
to.
right.
The only thing is I don't know what they're going to do with this conference thing because now the conferences have changed so much.
Right.
It was Power 5, each winner gets in.
Yeah.
That now has changed. The Pac-12 basically doesn't exist anymore. So I don't know if they're going to do just 4. And it was also they were going to put in the highest ranked non-Power 5 team.
Yeah.
Was going to get a bid. So at least one
Duke,
Cinderella or
see,
whatever you
pull
want
that
to
up.
call them would
What's
get
up?
a seat at the table.
2024 playoff schedule, just so I'm correct. But from my knowledge, what?
just to make sure I'm correct.
No, like I want to make sure. I'll get the details exactly, but from what I remember, I think they're going to do the play-in games in the first round on Thursday and Friday, leading into or Friday and Saturday, leading into NFL Sunday. So like that, you get a great week there. Then the next week, I think involves New Year's Day, or the semifinals are definitely New Year's Day. It's a great setup the way it's laid out, like visually for us in terms of all the weekends. Go to like FBS schedules.
It's all going to be right around.
They have it on the dates. Sorry.
You need 2025
like,
is what
you're getting. Yeah, I think so.
Because it's January, so 2025.
Right, 2025.
Technically.
Sorry. So you're getting Thursday night, Friday night into like Saturday. Oh, that's what it was. You're getting Saturday wild card games into that, like the semifinals. It's a really, really good spot. So the graphics laid out here with 5 groups of 5. Based off the lines going across, who would you pick? Like the first one's obviously boring because it's the top 5. But go in the second one down. USC's line, Texas's line, Kansas State's lines, NC State's lines. Who would you take in terms of like making a fun run at the championship? I'll give it to, we should have pulled up the graphic. Sorry. So 6 to 10. USC, State Penn, FSU, Clemson, Washington.
I think the sexiest pick this year is Florida State.
I think everybody kind of.
I think everyone's on that one where it's like, do you think State Penn's gonna be that good?
No, they're always high.
I think they're going to be. I think
they were kind of right there.
Their problem is they just have Ohio State, Michigan every year.
Yeah,
I think they're going to be better. They have a lot. They have 2 like unbelievable running backs. They have some good receivers. The new quarterback they're bringing in, they say is like the next. They think is going to be like the guy.
I think
that gets him over the hump. We'll see.
Still have James Franklin though.
Yeah,
he gets a lot. He gets more.
He does get a lot of shit.
I think he's a great coach.
He gets more shit than he deserves.
He's a dick.
He literally just loses to like the 2 of the best,
Yeah.
like 4 or 5 teams.
Your Penn State turned into State Penn.
think
You
he's
win
still-
those fucking games back in the day.
He's still top 15 coach in the country.
For sure. I would agree with that.
I will give him this credit, and I hate the place. I think if
very
they
well.
start looking to move away from him, they might have a little bit of what Notre Dame had, revisionist history of Brian Kelly. Now, he hasn't made the playoff, which Kelly did, but every year didn't it seem like Kelly was on the hot seat and Notre Dame being like, I don't know if Kelly can do it. It's like, dude, he had a pretty good run.
He had a great
like
run.
10 years. I think this Franklin has kind of had a pretty good run and got him as close as they can without getting there at State Penn. Can the next guy definitely do that? And that's not always the answer in college sports.
I think also, going off what I've said, I think Drew Allar, if I pronounce that correctly,
Yeah,
I think he's, I'm not going to say dark horse Heisman, but he's one that I'm keeping an eye on to take preseason.
Brandon put a list out of top 10 quarterbacks, and then I asked the question, who's not in the top 10 that you could see ending in the top 5, and Drew Aller was one of the highest names on there.
Okay, maybe I hate my pick now.
No, it's just
they're very high.
you
He's
think,
an
just like a
athletic
popular
kid, big
consensus
arm.
thing.
I just think everybody does think he can make,
I
make
think
a run at it. Texas, Tennessee, Notre Dame, Utah, Oregon.
You guys have completely sold me on Oregon State.
Well, that's down. That's
they're
the next line.
They're
but
18, but I'm totally sold on them.
Yeah,
Great coach, great offensive
Everybody
line.
always says Texas is back. I don't see how Tennessee could be the 12th team in the country. Everything went right for them last year until the end. I don't think Tennessee is back to being top 12. Do you?
I go back and forth because Milton, when he played, I actually thought he looked pretty good, and he was horrible at Michigan. He looked much better at Tennessee. He's got this insane arm, but
he's got the big video.
They lost obviously so much receiver talent, like Jalen Hyatt, Cedric Tillman, both go in the draft. They were both incredibly good last year. I don't know. I mean, they've done a good job recruiting. I do think they'll be top 25. I mean, maybe that's like an easy thing to say, obviously, but I don't know. I tend to agree with you. I think they might be a little lower than that. It's really Milton's the X factor.
Who's Utah's kid? Cam
Rising.
Rising is back, right? Healthy.
Yeah.
The other one that
30 years.
I think the narrative has changed on this kid, just from casual college football fans. Bo Nix was like a meme, right? You remember everybody kind of dunking on Bo. Bo Nix is like really good.
He was very good last year.
was unbelievable.
Oregon's going to be good.
Bo Nix is like reliable.
Oregon going to be a good team.
Still there though.
Yeah, the narrative on
last
him
year
has
was
changed.
This should be his last.
How old
year.
is he?
He's got to be 24.
He started as a freshman. That's why
He started
He's
that
probably
game
only
against-
like 20 against Auburn.
Didn't he start that game against? No.
Auburn.
He started for Auburn
It was
against
12.
Oregon.
Yes.
In the big comeback.
23.
Yes.
That seems like 100 years ago. That's what makes it. I think that was like 18.
Yeah, that was his first because they played so bad the whole game, and they let him down the field like twice in the fourth quarter. They won the game.
Yeah, so
Three,
Bo Nix is
still-
going to be such a third-string quarterback in the NFL.
Oh,
that just,
he's gonna have a
comes
great
in and-
career.
yeah, just comes in, but comes in and lights it up one game and wins.
He's gonna
like,
be a
the
Matt
Panthers
Flynn.
game.
Like
he's going to make
be
himself
like-
a lot of money. Yeah, especially if like I think he's elevating his IQ. So, Kansas State, TCU, Oregon State, Wisconsin, Oklahoma. I think unnecessary roughness did it. I didn't see anybody pick Oklahoma in the title game. Which is
No,
interesting.
I don't think they're.
But I'll give you two. This is the most fun.
me last
If you're
year.
playing futures, this is the most fun line for me. Oregon State has a real deal to get through that Pac-12. Real deal. And I do think Wisconsin is top tier in the country. With revamping the offense, Mordecai in there, Luke Fickell now at the helm. You know they're going to have beefy linemen. They're always going to have a running back who's reliable. Solid defense. Play on the weak side. They get Iowa at home. They get Ohio State at home. Like, really not a tough schedule at all.
Wisconsin to me, and I agree with you, but Wisconsin, it's going to be that one game where you're like, I did not expect them to lose that one. To where it's
It
like,
could be in the first 5 weeks. Like, I'm writing it down that
Yeah.
they're going to be undefeated and then hosting Iowa. If they already have that loss, there's no chance for a championship. But the fact that they get to see Ohio State on tape once before, I think maybe if they play them close, they get back in that championship game. Wisconsin, to me, is really a true sleeper to win the title. True sleeper. I think they're very, very
They should definitely come out of the West for sure in the
yeah.
Big Ten.
And then the bottom, I don't think really you can kind of make. I guess you could kind of make a run with May at North Carolina at 21,
I think they're gonna suck.
Ole Miss 22, Texas A&M 23, Tulane at 24, and Iowa at 25. So Wisconsin's definitely gonna be tested there with Iowa. But
Rico, can I bring up a team that you skimmed over?
yeah, sure.
Notre Dame. Where do you guys stand on them? You know, they got Sam Hartman from Wake Forest, and I love the Estime, Audric, whatever, the running back who's huge for Notre Dame. I kind of like them as a sleeper. I don't know if I'm buying the hype with Freeman, but I think their defense will be solid.
I think some guys transferred out. I don't know if Freeman's like as loved as he once was.
I know, and I can't tell if I'm just falling in love with the backfield with like the running backs Tyree and then Sam Hartman. I was obsessed with at Wake Forest, so I just think that he'll kind of.
I thought Sam Hartman was a great pickup.
Yeah.
No, it's great. No, there should be good. That's Ohio State. We played them in Notre Dame this year. That's a huge game. They're definitely going to be better than they were last year.
Justin Ross from the Clemson just got carted off from the Chiefs.
Oh shit, he was looking good.
It seems like he's gonna be. It seems like he's gonna be okay, but he was carted off. He was looking like that was a guy that. Did you
He's a
see Richie?
sleeper.
Did you see Richie James catch
Scored a touchdown.
Yeah, that hurt. When I heard Richie James, like it hurt me bad. That's our guy.
He's going to do big things in Kansas
Dick
City.
James is gonna kill it.
And
Him and Tony are both going to get Tony's going to get 2 rings.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
going to get another ring.
I'll ask you guys this. 'cause
Not gonna stop.
He
You're
couldn't
kind of
touch
on
on
the
the Super Bowl.
on the outside of loving college football as much as we do. What would have to or what could change that could get you more into it, or why did you kind of fall out of it? Not having a team, the regionalization.
Growing up in the Northeast, like all people cared about when in New England and on Long Island was pro teams, and honestly, the playoff structure is getting me more excited, more interested. That's a real way because I'm the same thing with college basketball, but I watch March Madness,
Right.
So that kind of stuff is.
It's more on having a team.
Yeah. Also, like being around
pull
here,
that schedule up again real quick. The playoffs.
working here too, and like talking with you guys, because a lot of people in my life don't like college football. Like
100%.
hearing about it, that gets me excited too.
I think that's a great point. I think casual basketball fans always somehow know, oh, the tournament's on. I got this. I'm going to fill out a bracket. I'm going to have a tournament. Oh, the Final Four. It's always the first weekend of April. Makes sense, like appointment things. I think college football, the way they're laying this out, can get people to at least pay attention to the big games over 3 weekends and not interfere with the NFL.
Yeah,
and
but
if you're a football diehard, you sit on your couch for 4 straight days around the holidays.
On the holidays.
You're talking about two different things. Like I didn't get into college football as a kid as much because outside of Philly, it was either Penn State or you're kind of fucked. Like Temple wasn't anything. I mean, they're back to nothing.
Yeah.
Now that it's the gambling's involved, now that everything else, like you can just get into the game.
Right.
A lot.
If I didn't
You don't
gamble,
have
I
to have
don't
a
think
team.
I'd watch more. I think the turnover's hard. There's so many fucking players in football where, like, NFL, because they're on the team all
So
the
you didn't
time.
grow up with a team at all?
I'm Notre Dame. But,
Yeah,
like,
everybody grew
again,
up. I was a Notre Dame fan. Then you
Yeah.
got into the gambling.
I
You
don't like
started
Notre
to
Dame
root for
anymore, but, like,
teams.
I don't have a team in college football. I just
I was a Widener
like,
fan
gamble.
growing up.
Who?
Widener.
Widener Pioneers.
with
So all right, so hold on real quick.
Yeah.
Lay this out on the visual.
Go back up.
Go
Just
back
go
up
to the
just a
last
little
one.
bit.
That's the start of it.
So this is the end of, just to be
20th,
clear,
21st.
again, this is the end of next year. Okay,
Next season.
when
Not
they
this
go
upcoming,
when they
the
go
one after.
12. Friday, 1 game. Saturday, 3 games in the afternoon. Now that 21st
Early, late, and night.
is
That's
what
great.
it used to appear. What that used to be the opening week of bowls.
Yeah.
So that's what
correct.
that is. So that's basically
correct.
replaying. That was it was usually like it's December 18th or it's December 21st. You look at the calendar. The opening week of bowls usually was that Saturday. So you now have an appointment of 3.
So there'll be some bowls scattered
There'll
around
be some
then as
other
well,
bowls,
like
but
other
those
random ones.
3 playoff games is huge. Then you go into Tuesday of New Year's Eve.
Get the same thing the next year.
I
next
hated
weekend.
when it first came around. I love the fact that there is a reason to never leave your house on New Year's Eve.
I actually
I love it. Just let me watch the games. Or if I go to a party,
I wish it wasn't on.
No, Rico,
dude.
this is perfect. An evening
Yes.
game on the 31st, and then 3 games on the first, the day that you're doing nothing.
That's
fantastic.
always
like
get
that.
back to New Year's
Fantastic.
Day, owning it, and
I like
then
New Year's Eve.
this is the best part to
An
me.
evening game is okay though.
This is the best part to me. You get a Thursday night football game the week of Wild Card Weekend. Friday as well. We go to primetime in, and then that Saturday and that Sunday you got NFL all week, and you go back to the Monday Night Championship, which it always should be. This is elite the way they have laid this out.
It's great. I love
It is good.
Elite. I love
I don't like all the games on New Year's Eve because I understand I like staying home too, but like some people you just gotta go out and do something.
Yeah,
and
of course,
it's like
of course.
sometimes you're not too locked into it. I like watching those big games on my couch instead of like at a bar.
That's I'm hopeful it's saying evening that it'll start maybe at like 6.
Yeah, that
It's
would
like a 6 to 9 kind of thing.
7's fine.
Even
7's
7 to
get you out of
10
there
is like
by
okay.
11, yeah.
I didn't love they started like 8:30 because then it's like
that's-
it was-
those
like last year I literally watched Ohio State missed the kick as the ball
ball
dropped.
drop. Yeah, that was
I didn't even know the
crazy.
ball.
Those
I didn't even know the
videos
ball dropped. I was so distraught.
Those
I had no
videos were
idea.
all time.
It was funny. Everyone
Crowd
doing
of
that.
people at the
It
party
literally,
getting,
like, hits
10,
the-
9, and these guys are like just sweating out the bed.
I didn't even know. I had to just stay home and watch it.
That was kind of fun though. We'll go switching people with one TV, switching back and forth and shit. Like
But that schedule is so much more exciting to me than these bowl games that are 2 teams that I've never heard of.
Bowl games are-
and there's so many of them. Like I don't know what's
bowl games have went down so bad. Not even for them pulling out. It's just like everyone knows it doesn't matter.
You don't get an advantage anymore with gambling because so many guys hold out. They hold out.
Yeah,
last
it doesn't
minute,
matter at all.
Motivation. It's not even fun really to.
Rico, 12-man bracket, right? I know you love brackets, filling them out, March Madness. How many years do you think it's going to take you to fill out a perfect bracket for college football playoff?
I would say
But it's an easier 12 because
Yeah, I
the first
think
4 get a
First-
bye.
I think this will be.
So it's
I think
almost like
someone's going
8,
to get
4, and
perfect in the
4.
first year.
I think it'll
Oh,
happen.
so someone will
I'll
get a
tell
perfect.
you what.
Yeah. I know it's-
Somebody
no,
will.
I could see a lot of brackets being straight chalk.
Right.
The way college is kind
Dude,
of
it's
laid
gonna
out.
happen for a little. I think that
Yeah,
first is gonna happen
I
for a
don't.
little
I think
bit.
if you lay out
I think
chalk,
the 5 to
within
12s,
5
I
years
think
you have a perfect
the
bracket.
5 to 12s, I think you'll be surprised.
Marty, also hilarious. You were
Some
a
of them.
Notre Dame fan also at one point.
Dude, that's just
Every
what-
Irish
that-
Catholic
no,
person,
I was-
in the
Yeah,
world.
Just
Always
everyone.
on TV.
No, I know.
too.
Only
But
team on
the
TV,
Notre Dame
yeah.
Duke
NBC.
Yankees. I was laughing.
Yeah, it
back
does.
there.
It does.
say
My
it all the time.
brother's still a Notre Dame fan. I just don't care about college football.
I care more about gambling. I like rooting for the teams outside the top 10.
I almost should be an
that
I
becomes
should
your
go
team.
back to being
That's
a
where
Notre
it's
Dame
fun.
fan just because I'm a Duke fan.
That's actually where it's fun. I know people criticize me because you have so many teams.
That you're Bama.
It's actually
Yeah,
more
I'm bad.
fun for football that you can pick a team 12 to 15 and you ride your national
Oh, I
championship
believe that,
ticket.
yeah.
You know,
Wait,
or
real-
a story comes out of the woodwork and you're like, you know what, I really like this team. I hope they make a run.
Real quick, do you think this is like kind of the most down people have been on Alabama in a little bit?
Yeah.
Because of
Yes.
the quarterback
doubt.
situation?
Without a doubt.
And I feel like they'll just surprise us again. Not
Yeah.
surprise us,
They'll
but
be in
like,
the race.
they'll just be
Without a
undefeated
doubt.
again and be like, all right.
They'll be in the race. Picks. Marty, what do you got?
I just
Sorry,
have-
hold on. Big Ev.
I'm on the Rockies today. Going back to the Orioles, like they give me +1. I would take them all day. And the Giants late tonight.
I just have the Yankees, and I think I had the Orioles too. The Yankees are just funny tonight because it's Severino's pitching against the Braves. The Braves are the best baseball team I've ever seen play baseball. They hit everything.
Elder
The
though.
way they are every year.
They don't stop.
At this time.
They don't
Yeah,
stop.
but let me ask you this:
Spraying.
would you still take the way the playoffs roll out? Would you still take the field against the Braves in the playoffs?
Yeah. You have
Astros
to.
and
It's
Rangers
just the
are
way
really
it
good.
goes.
It'd be
Yeah,
tough
it's
not
just
to.
the
Yeah,
way
it
Dodgers
just-
are good too.
But the way I saw that lineup, it does not. You're like, wow, this guy's batting eighth, and
It's
he's
just the way.
fucking-
no,
Michael
they're
Harris
loaded.
the second is batting ninth. He was
Yes, and that's where I'm like, when I was watching yesterday, I was laughing how good they were.
They're really, really good.
Crazy.
I'll take the Pirates. I don't think them anytime you can get the Mets as a favorite. I just say go the other way, the way the team is and the lineup they're rolling out. I like the Astros against Cueto, and I like the Rays against the Giants. Smitty, what do you got?
Yankees is the dog day of the play. Hey, they can't lose everyone. That's the way. Pavetta under 5.5. Twins, Cardinals, I really like that. And then Braves, Yankees over 10.5. Look at Elder and Severino's last 3 starts. Just look at that and take 10.5.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. I'm also going on that Braves, Yankees over as well. Smitty and I were talking about it for the show. Jeff, my big play, though, is Jordan Montgomery over 17.5 outs. He's pitched 6 innings each of his last 5 starts. And Art Schlichter was a bust.
He was. Yeah, that's right. He was like, what, 70s, I think, or something like
I
that.
used to love Art.
We touched on it, too. I don't want to pick on him because the facts are the facts, but Angels are now 12.5 out of the division, 2 under 500, and 7 out of the wild card. It's going to go down.
I know we
I
talked about
get
this
why
bad.
they did the trade.
He said went down swinging.
But if it didn't work
that's
out,
not the
they
answer.
were going to look like assholes. Yeah.
I was furious when it happened.
It had to work
It was
out.
awful, and it was terrible. It was malpractice then. It's even worse now. An embarrassment of an organization the Angels are.
Has he not?
They got the buckets out when 5 compartments were filled on the Titanic.
Has Shohei not hit a home run in a while or something?
Exactly what
I
it
usually feel like I see all this. I haven't been watching the Angels game.
Shohei,
I saw it was since Drake was wearing his jersey. He hasn't hit one.
Oh, that's right. They've been
Oh, I love that.
Shohei has 1 home
They've been
run.
talking about that.
Drake's the coolest. Drake's the coolest guy in the world.
No, he's
Shohei
not.
hit a home run
Yes,
on
he is.
Friday night, I believe, versus the Astros.
So that's his second one in August or first one in August?
So he's like,
Probably his
what's he on
second.
pace for? Like
I remember
55
posting number
now?
41.
early high 50s. If
He ain't-
Yeah, around there.
Olsen probably is more than him now, right?
Yes, Olsen has at
He's
least
got
3
to,
more
right?
than him now.
Olsen,
He's unbelievable.
Olsen's August stats are unheard of.
To
He
go-
wasn't this good with the Ace.
To go from,
He wasn't.
I think it's also not talked about
Yes,
enough
he
where
was. Yes, he was.
See, he's gonna
No,
he's
not
good.
this good.
He's gonna
Not lead the league in home
He
runs.
was very good with the
He
A's.
was very good. He wasn't this good.
But I also think the way they went from Freeman being an MVP to him being an MVP like that—that's a hard role to fill.
the best
right away.
organization in
It's
sport, in
insane.
baseball right now, by
Yeah.
far.
You
Dax
think,
on
Not even just best team, best
Phil,
like run
Phil,
organization.
don't be a troll.
Phil, you got smoked today,
Phil,
Phil.
that was bad, Phil.
Phil, you had a bad show. And just shut it up.
I just want to say something. Frank said something about. Oh, there we go.
Phil, that was